Hello factory fans, in the last episode of our legendary factory series, we laid the groundwork for our legendary cryo-science build on Aquilo. This episode, we finalized the build and put all our intergalactic science setups to the test, aiming to confirm our goal of 1000 SPM. With the few bugs to iron out, we'll wrap up the series with a soft conclusion and answer the big question, can we create a megabase worth of science in a compact form factor? Let's find out. So with our basic cryo-science setup, we've now got all of the science packs needed to do most of our research. Now, there's no way I can prove that all of my science is actually producing at 1000 SPM for like this legendary factory build. I mean, this whole series is more of a proof of concept than anything else. If you think about it, like we're at the point of the game where like, what are we even doing, right? Like, why do we even need to research any of this crap anymore? We're just going for infinite research. So I'm kind of having like an existential crisis of what I actually want to do with this series. Like I wanted to do an infinite research that uses all the science together so that I can prove that we're getting 1000 SPM sustainably. But to do that, I need to get Prometheum science because that's the only pack that utilizes every single science at the same time. Otherwise, we're only ever utilizing one part of the science. For example, while we're using the agricultural science, the metallurgic science and all the other science will be just stacking up in boxes. And of course, we'll be able to get 1000 SPM by the time we need to get around to using them and things like that. I don't know if it's up to you guys. Like, I feel like as a proof of concept series, I can like soft end the series here and just say, look, we've created a factory that's reasonably easy to extend using legendary buildings and prove that we can make a compact factory to output the minimum of like what a megabase can do, which is like around 1000 SPM, which is fantastic, right? And you know, it's actually like a useful kind of thing to do because you might want to do bigger projects going forward and you might need to get up to like 15 of every level of this research, and this is a good way to get there without having to build an actual megabase. But I think I do want to do a couple of bonus episodes just to clean things up and tidy it up. I mean, I haven't actually built a Prometheum ship yet, and we're in a pretty good position to do that because obviously we're going to need a lot of legendary components to build a Prometheum ship. So maybe we can go forward and do that. First, I want to just clean up these factories a little to get it all actually working and shipping science back. To do that, we need to close the loop on this fusion reactor thing because we're not actually producing any of the extra Aquilo stuff like quantum processors and fusion cells and things like that. So we should definitely do that. Unfortunately, that's not as easily said as, well, it's not as easily done as you think because we need to get all the components from every single planet like Volcanus and Gleba and Aquilo. So we need a new ship that can do laps around everywhere. Now, it needs to do full laps from every single planet. So I think what we're going to do is similar to what we did in our Space Age series, where whatever ship is going to Volcanus is going to bring back the Volcanus materials to Nalvis. And then our Aquilo ship is just going to do a lap from Gleba to Nalvis to Fulgora to pick up all the stuff it needs to do shipments of science and make quantum processors, foundations, and fusion fuel. So to do that, we need to actually sort out our Nalvis because our Nalvis, we have two bases, right? We have one base over here that's responsible for shipping stuff off-world. It's got the rocket silos. I've disabled all the other production on this old base. All it's doing is making rocket parts and shipping stuff off that we need. But over here, we have our import, which is where all the science is coming in and doing all our research. At the moment, we're pulling the flux out of here to go over here to do eggs. So we need to move these eggs out of the way and over to our new area. And now we're in a position to do that because we have an Aquilo that's functional. So we can build new captive biter spawners and we can put the eggs over here. And that way the eggs can be shipped over to Volcanus so that we can continue to produce more of these productivity modules. As you can see, my productivity module production is really slow at the moment because nothing is functional. So it's time to do a little bit of a cleanup episode because we don't want to like, as much as I'd like to leave this as just a proof of concept and go, yep, we can definitely create a legendary compact factory and it's awesome. I'd like to actually execute it all in practice and just clean everything up before we continue on. And then once we've cleaned everything up, we can look at maybe making a Prometheum ship that can go and also match out the rest of the output and actually get this science to 1000 per second. That is pretty ambitious though, so I don't know if that will actually get done or not, but for now, at least we're going to do one final cleanup episode, wrap everything up on a soft ending, and then we can look at whether we want to continue the series or not. Now, before we can do anything, we need to be able to get off Aquilo. We haven't even set up our rocket silos and stuff yet over here. So let's just quickly do that. Our rocket cargo landing pad, for now, I'm just going to stick it over here. I have various plans for what I want to do, and I'm thinking we have our extra buildings over here making our quantum processors and whatnot, so they all need items from this cargo landing pad. So it's going to be something like this. I'm just going to put it here for now, and then we can shift it around if we need to. But we'll leave some space and we'll chuck it here. Of course, I don't have enough concrete for anything. Let me just remove some of this extra concrete. I concreted all of this for my old build, and obviously none of that is required anymore. So we should be able to do that now. So this is going to be our input stuff. So all our holmium and things are going to come from here. So I do need to like belt the holmium up over here and get the rest of the input out over here somewhere to do all the stuff with quantum processors and making all that fuel. So I think this is a decent spot to start with. We can obviously adjust it as we go. Next, we need our actual rocket silo. So let's get that sorted out. Now I only have one rocket silo on this planet. I thought I had more. Maybe I've got it in a box somewhere. One rocket silo will do for now. So I think eventually we're going to need more than one rocket silo, right? Like if we're going to do Prometheum science, we might as well just set this up properly with multiple silos. Oh, I don't even know. It's so hard to set anything up on this planet. But basically, most of the stuff is going to come from here. We also need rocket fuel. So we need to set up a rocket fuel creator at some point. And we can do that like right in the middle over here. So let me move some of this stuff around and chuck down another cryo lab to make rocket fuel. We really should make rocket fuel close to here, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So let me figure out where to do that, or where's the best place to do that. All right, so I've set up a rocket fuel producer so we can make rocket fuel locally now. Apparently we don't have enough whatever input, but we'll worry about the volumes later. It is eventually producing some rocket fuel. Remember, we still got to upgrade all of these labs at some point, so don't worry about it too much. We can always add more beacons. We just can't add a lot more beacons, so it's fine. Now, with this thing, we can produce our rocket fuel locally, which is fantastic. It's being buffered over here, so I'm gonna chuck the rest of my rocket fuel there. Obviously, the blue circuits and the LDS needs to be imported from somewhere to do shipment. So we're going to buffer it right here out of the cargo bay. The rest of the cargo bay stuff, everything else coming out of it will come up and produce all the other stuff later. We'll worry about that when the time comes. But for now, I don't want to use bots to deliver anything anywhere because obviously the bots are super slow in this system. So I'm trying to use belts where I can. So I'm doing a little bit of belt braiding to get all the materials in. In theory, let's test it out. If we chuck in some blue circuit here and some LDS, all of these grabbers should bring it over, buffer it into these chests and bring it out over here. And that should give us all the stuff we need to make rocket parts. Fantastic. Temporarily, I'm going to put down a beacon with a speed module to get this thing going a little bit faster. But eventually this does give the infrastructure to add more because I've done belt braiding and it's all done off these belts. So I can just add another rocket silo one day if I need more rockets. For now, one rocket silo should be more than enough. I just need to get off this planet and also bring the stuff over here for shipment. So the first thing that I want to do is create captive biter spawners. So I'm just going to make a cryolab somewhere. Am I out of cryolabs? Is that even a thing? Apparently I'm out of cryolabs. That's fine. We can make more cryolabs, but before we do that, what I really want to do is start also upping the quality on some of this stuff, because as you can see, we don't even have the capability of making legendary cryolabs at the moment. But if we look at the materials for making legendary cryo plants, all of these materials we have in abundance on Fulgora, refined concrete, superconductor, and processing unit. So instead of making something on this planet that's super complicated that deals with rolling up cryo plants, you can imagine all the quality builds that I've done on other planets, like even on Gleba. If you look at like something that rolls things up at every single different quality level, it takes up so much space and logistics, and it requires bots and things. It's just simply not going to work on Aquilo, right? So what I'm thinking is, since we have all the materials for cryo plants except for the lithium, the only thing that's going to be responsible for this place doing things is just upcycling lithium plate, and it'll just slowly get us enough lithium plate to make legendary cryolabs manually. It's probably not the most automated solution, but I think it's the simplest solution. To get 20 legendary lithium plates shouldn't take too long. It'll just run in the background. So let me just set something up and we'll see what that looks like. Now this thing better not turn it back into lithium ore. I'm going to be very mad. But in theory, this is like the cleanest thing I can do with all this stupid heating requirements. But basically it's going to take the lithium from this system and chuck it in here. Oh no, stop. and it's going to upcycle it. I don't have any quality modules right now, but I'm bringing that in on Aquilo 2. We've got our 50 quality modules now, so head back to Aquilo. So it's pretty much the simplest setup I can think of. Basically, we're taking the lithium out of the system and we're going to put it into this quality upcycler. Now, of course, I can also make a new thing that rolls it here as well, but I think just let it run in the background. We're just going for simplicity rather than efficiency at this point. So it's just going to take the normal lithium out of here, and then it's going to upcycle it in an upcycler, and then it's just going to keep rolling. Anything under legendary will just get re-rolled. We'll let that run for a bit. Worst case scenario, we can just bring out more lithium ore somewhere and put in another lithium plant over here that also rolls it up. I'm just thinking, is that just probably smarter to do right now? We do have the space over here that's not being used for anything. Maybe I will do that, because another smelter with quality modules is another 20% chance that it starts off at a higher quality rather than just the base quality over here. It should speed up the process a lot. I've got the quality modules in now. Let's see if this system works. I'm going to hook it up. So we're going to take the regular lithium. We're going to try to roll it up here at a 12.4% chance. And then anything that's less than legendary is going to be upcycled here at a 24% chance and then put back in here, and then round and round it goes. And in theory, this should just slowly accrue with legendary things. Now, I do also recognize if we need to force this process, because to create lithium, all you need is holmium plate. So if you want to create legendary lithium, all you need to do is pump in legendary holmium plate, which we don't, like at the moment. The problem with doing that is we don't, first of all, have that much legendary holmium plate. If we wanted to make legendary holmium plate, I get it. There's a lot of, you know, quality shuffling things we can do. We can make, you know, superconductors and then roll them and into, I forget how to do it. There's a way to get forced legendary holmium plate through building things out of holmium and then rolling them back down with scrap recycling, and you can get a lot of legendary holmium plate. It's not, anyway, the point is it's not a problem. But the thing is, we are already going to have a normal shipment of holmium flowing, right, from our interstellar logistics network to keep the cryo-science going. So it'd be nice to have a passive process that just does this slowly, right? Eventually, this will make some legendary holmium, legendary lithium plates, and it doesn't require us to manually ship over legendary holmium plate. But I do recognize if I need legendary lithium at some point, all I need to do is ship over some legendary holmium. And if I am in desperate need for a legendary cryo lab, I will definitely do that. But for now, I'm okay. Because it does involve multiple trips, right? I have to bring the bloody holmium over here, make the legendary lithium, bring the legendary lithium back somewhere else that I can have the other legendary materials to make the actual cryo labs. So it is a bit of an involved and painful process. So I'd rather just have a little passive process going over here for now, and then we'll come and deal with the other stuff later. But this should give us some legendary lithium one day, hopefully, and it's not really costing us anything really, I think. I hope it doesn't impact the system and shut it all down, but only time will tell. That's almost everything that I want to do over here for now. Next thing, we want to turn our attention over to Nauvis and start moving all our important production over to our new factory. Our new factory currently just produces science at a ridiculous rate, but our old factory is currently producing all the other useful stuff, such as biter eggs. So we need to move that stuff over, and I just realized our biter eggs aren't even working properly right now, but that's fine. It's a perfect timing to move them since we're not even producing any biter eggs right now. So we need some captive biter spawners. I don't know how many I want to go with. Oh, damn. We do need to fix this before we do anything, because we need eggs to make more stuff. So let me fix this up real quick. So the reason it all stopped working is because I had SS Power routed to take 2K agri-science, and obviously I hadn't finished setting up Gleba properly to actually continuously produce agri-science, and I guess it's stopped or spoiled or run out or something. But either way, it's not making agri-science. It doesn't really matter. We can just let it... It hasn't stopped, but it just isn't producing agri-science for some reason. Spoilage isn't properly handled somewhere. I don't know where. This is all backed up. Apparently, there's too much spoilage for one incinerator to handle, and it's backed up the whole system. But yeah, anyway, it's not a big issue at the moment. We're not worried about agri-science. We'll fix all these problems and these little bugs as we go. But for now, we just need to get the flux flowing again. So I've asked this thing to stop grabbing the agri-science and just grab flux, so that we can make some capture rockets on Nauvis, recapture these, get some eggs, bring the eggs over to Aquilo, and make some more captive biter spawners. A big production chain of events that need to happen all at the same time, because everything spoils and it's annoying. There we go. Got our little rocket launcher over here, recapturing all of these. We got new flux coming in, so that should be all sweet. Then it'll grab some biter eggs, and then we need to bring those biter eggs ASAP over to Aquilo with all the other stuff. So let me sort out the other things for the captive biter spawner. Alright, set up a new biochamber with the quality modules in them because, you know, 50% chance of it going green quality. Apparently captive biter spawners can go up in quality. I do see the thing on it. Crafting speed goes higher apparently. I don't know. Does more damage. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. We'll find out, I guess. But yeah, so we can make it in high quality, so why not make it in high quality? We just need to feed it in the rest of the materials. Now, I think I want to go for 10 for now, and then we can come back and make more later on. But we need 150 uranium, I need 100 biter eggs, and 10 capture robots. I should have all that on Nalvis, so let me go sort that out. Alright, took a while to reconnect all the flux and all that stuff. So now we've got our biter eggs, we've got our capture robots, and we've got our 150 uranium. So we're going to bring it all back to Aquilo and make 10 captive biter spawners, and then we'll bring that back to Nalvis and set up our biter eggs somewhere else and move all our rocket silos over to our new base. That way, our old base is basically non-functional. The only thing the old base is kind of doing is making, I guess, some old like buildings and things like that. I'm not even sure what of these buildings we're even still using, but I guess temporarily it's just basically responsible for making all our old non-legendary buildings if we need them. So we're not going to decommission the old base yet, we'll just let it do its thing. Alright, time for some more gambling. We've got our items, so we're going to shove it in here and we're going to see what this thing spits out. Take all my things. Alright, there you go. Got a regular one. Yeah, everyone is like 30% more production and apparently the damage is higher. Oh man, is this going to produce like a legendary bloody biters or something? Hey, does a green one produce green eggs? Ooh, imagine that. I wonder. I don't think it works that way, right? Well, I guess we'll find out. Alright, we got statistically exactly what we expected, which is half green, half regular ones. Now is going to be the challenge. Within the 40 minutes, I need to ship these back and set them up on Nalvis. So we're going to be a little bit quick with this. I only have one rocket platform here, so... Man, I thought we would be chewing through a lot of our buffer of blue chips and LDS and stuff launching these rockets, but with this part productivity at like 100% or something stupid like that, it actually barely uses any materials to make these rocket parts. But we're almost halfway there, just slowly waiting for the damn animation, takes so long. It really is a shame that these rocket silos, the waiting point or the speed at which it's limited by is the animation of the actual thing, not the rocket part production. Because otherwise you could have a legendary rocket silo powered by legendary beacons, and that's all you would ever need. But unfortunately, because of this animation speed, if you ever had to do like a mass launch of 10 rockets like this, you will need more than one rocket silo. Alright, I got everything on board, and now I just have to send myself up there and travel back to Nalvis. In terms of how much time we have left on this stuff. Hey, where are they all? Yeah, we got plenty of time. I think the lowest one is up to 23 minutes, so we just gotta go back there and set all this up real quick. I've just landed and just turned on my personal logistics to get our basic building materials. We don't have infinite time to faff about here, so we just need to make a real quick decision about where we set these things up, because once they're set up, they're never going to come down ever again. So yeah, we got to be a bit careful about that. We'll get this to stop sending flux away so we can deal with it. Now we've got a little bridge over here, like a little gap to do stuff. Like maybe we would just do it like over here somewhere. Seems like a reasonable spot to do it. What is this thing? This is the old flux belt. Okay, so if we get rid of the old flux belt, maybe it makes sense to do it along here. Let's just quickly have a think about what we might need to do in the future. So if we need more cargo bays, we're expanding southwards. We're just going to tack them on this way and they'll go down there. So this side is free, but I want to leave a little bit of room for shenanigans in terms of belting and storing whatever materials we need to store in future. So I think over here is fine. And I was thinking doing the rocket silos like along up here. So let's give that a go. And hopefully we've aligned everything properly. Let me grab all my nests. And once we plop, it sucks that you can't move these. But it's fine. It is what it is. Or is this enough space away? We need to leave some room for the defense and the walls and stuff. And do I want them directly next to each other? Like just 5? Wait, do I need a capture robot to do this? No food. Alright, so I just need to give it food. That's fine. So if I just do like 5 like this. And then let me just put down the things like the inserters and the belts and stuff. So I definitely want them to come out onto a belt. Now it'd be something like this, this, and then there, and then we just want 5 on the other side, right? Well, this is going to be as good as it gets. Hopefully I've put it all in the right spot and don't have to move these, because these are going to be a pain in the butt to move. Now I quickly need to feed these guys with something. The green ones are up there, the white ones are here. So we need to feed these guys with some flux now. What is this thing? This is the white science trying to get rid of itself. We can move the flux belt a little bit. So the flux can feed, I can belt braid the flux into it like this. So if I do it coming out here, then we use blue jumpers. We can braid it in between, keeping the build reasonably condensed. Something like this. I know it's not even, but whatever. So the flux is gonna do this, and then we just need power on this thing and we're done. I think that powers everything, right? Oh, almost. I need a purple one of these. I'll just do this for now. And now they're all happy and they're all producing biter eggs, right? Nope. All right. These two need that as well. Yep, now they're all happy and they're all producing biter eggs. Fantastic. Now we need to buffer these biter eggs properly because we don't want infinite amounts of biter eggs. So let me figure out how to do that. Stop. That's way too many biter eggs already. Let me just flip it the other way for now, and then we'll do the wire condition. All right. So for now, I just want 10 eggs in here. So this can all just back up. I'm fine with that, because even backed up, each one of these, I think, stores 100 eggs. So we've got 1,000 eggs to deal with at any given point in time, which is already a lot. So we need to set up adequate defenses around this little getup. So let me just do that real quick. Now, if there's ever an appropriate time to be using hazard concrete, I believe this would be it. So I've walled them off and I've put laser turrets around them, so hopefully the biters can't get out. I don't know if I've not left enough leeway and they can like clip through the wall, but we'll monitor the system. I don't think it'll be a problem. I need to do the capture robot thing here because just in case there's a flux shortage or whatever the hell happens, we need to make sure it's all okay. I might have a buffer box for flux somewhere as well, just in case. All right, a little bit involved to get the capture robot rocket backup system set up. So we need a rocket launcher, obviously, that targets all 10 of these things to launch capture robots in case the flux ever stops for whatever reason. But to supply this thing with capture robots, we need to build capture robots, which is fine. Something we need to build anyway. The flux is all here. The rest of our materials is all coming from our main system over here. But our main system currently isn't really enabled to build anything other than science, so I just had to set up a couple of random buffer boxes everywhere. It's something that we will need to do eventually if we want to set up a bot mall or something like that, but basically just peeling off the materials that we're producing for the science and putting them into a box available for our logistics network. Nothing too complicated. We're going to need to do some stuff now to set up the rocket silos. Alright, took a little bit of doing, nothing too complicated. I don't know where to put everything yet in regards to my new base setup. I know this is like a pretty clean, or reasonably clean build to make the science, but when I want to tack things onto it, I don't know where to do it. So I've just put my rocket fuel thing over here for now, because that's where the light oil is coming from. Then that's going to make the rocket fuel. Our LDS is already just directly coming out of the system, which is perfectly fine over here. And our blue circuits obviously just directly coming out of the system. So that's all the components for the rockets. They're being routed around the back and through these belt braiding things to create rocket parts. So we'll monitor the system, see how that goes. I can see it's already, something's not quite right. Let's have a look. Why do you not have LDS? There we go. Now, it's all working. I've beaconed it up. We've got 4 rockets. That should be enough to do whatever we need to do. Now we need to move, well, we'll have to slowly move the functionality from the old base to the new base as it comes up, like things that we need. At the moment, the only thing Nalvis is actually supplying is eggs. So we don't have to worry about too much. We just need Nalvis to supply eggs. Now, we didn't just do that to move our eggs and rockets over to the new base. We did that for a reason, and it's because our cargo landing pad is over here in our new base, and anything we transport and store over here is going to be here. So it's not going to be able to be launched from rockets back in the old base all the way over here. What I mean by that is to supply all the stuff that we need on Aquilo, which is basically items on, oh no, my Aquilo's frozen, but the power part's not frozen, and that's good. So there must be something wrong with the thing over here where it's not getting enough fuel. I think maybe all the additions that I made kind of screwed with things, but that's fine. The important thing is the power is still on, so it's not going to be a pain to restart. But anyway, I digress. So we need to get all the components over to Aquilo, and looking at the space map, the way I'm going to transport it is the same way I did in my Let's Play series, where whatever ship is going over here, which is SS Nauvis, is going to be responsible for taking tungsten and tungsten carbide from Volcanus and bringing it to Nauvis. And an Aquilo ship is going to go from Aquilo to Gleba to Nauvis to Folgora and back to Aquilo, grabbing all the stuff from Gleba and grabbing the Volcanus stuff from Nauvis and grabbing the Folgora stuff, bringing it to Aquilo, and then maybe bringing the science back. So it'll be something like that. Let me try it out and see. And if we can close the loop on everything, we can soft close this series as, like, you know, all the basic science is done. All right, so I've set up SS Nauvis. It's got a lot of responsibilities. Not only is it producing the white science and all the calcite for all the builds, but it's also grabbing this stuff over. So it's pulling the tungsten carbide and the tungsten plate for now. And it's also responsible for delivering biter eggs back to Volcanus to make our prod modules. So it's got a lot of things it needs to do. Hopefully it can keep up with everything. The annoying thing about having one ship do multiple tasks is if anything blocks one of these tasks, everything stops. So yeah, it's kind of like, how many ships do you want? Do you want like one ship to do one specific task? That way they don't interfere with each other. Or do you just want to set up your logistics really solid so nothing ever gets jammed? Or you can set conditions over here that just says like, look, if you've waited more than like 2 minutes, just go, right? So like if you've been waiting on Volcanus and something's wrong, and you've waited 240 seconds, then just go back to Nauvis, right? I don't know if that's a good condition to add. I'm kind of scared to do that, to do this. I'm going to take this out. Oh, we've got to quickly close the loop on Nauvis because we need to get this thing to actually request this. So we need 500 of these and 250 of the tungsten carbide. And that'll just keep it in storage for now. We should have plenty of room in storage for all this stuff, so it'll stop requesting things. We don't want 2,000 of these. We only want that to be at 500. Okay, fantastic. Now, I do want to leave a small buffer box from in here. I don't want it just to buffer in this thing. I want to kind of have separate buffer boxes for these export items. So we'll have that set up like this. And now we're going to see if we can supply all of this back to Aquilo. But before I go, I should also do the spoilage handling on this belt as well. If you notice our agri-science, let's just hook up all our science properly. Now that we've got all our science and we've pretty much used the backlog of all our science, let's just set up our science and hook it all up properly once and for all before we leave Nauvis and go back to Aquilo. I was just coming back to our old base to get incineration towers. I'm going to check up on this system that was rolling for legendary biolabs. We've got 2 legendaries and 8 epic ones. I think that's all we need for this, the rest of the series, because I don't think I'm going to push this system to go to like 10,000 SPM. I think like as a sort of technical demo that it can be done, but actually achieving that is a little bit out of scope because you can imagine that'll be another 100 hours of logistic challenges to solve to get all that throughput up to what we need it to be. So I think 2 of these, let's put them down and see how much throughput this can actually do. So if I put 2 of these and the rest just being all epic, that can do 27.65 science per second. I think that's, you know, way more than what we'll ever actually do in reality. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that. I don't think we need to roll any more labs. I mean, we can always extend this later. Really, given the target that we're doing right now, we can actually just condense this all down to 1 lab. But I like this setup. We'll leave it at that for expandability purposes. Not that we're ever going to expand. But yeah, let's just clean up the spoilage now. Nothing too complicated. We've just got spoilage handling on every single one of these biolabs. And this, whatever green science belt ends up being the agri-science, we'll just have a spoilage remover over here and just going into a incinerator. I keep calling these incinerators. They're actually called heating towers. All right, cool. Now I'm just going to clean up all the science that's coming out of here to get that all going properly for all 12 sciences. And then we should be done on Nauvis, basically. All right, so apparently connecting our new system to the old logistics system, I have to disable a lot of stuff. As you can see, these bots are trying to transport stuff from the old cargo landing pad somewhere. And I have no idea where. So I have to do some investigation and just running around to figure out what the heck is going on. Obviously, all of these things are like requesting various things and God knows what's happening. So let me try to figure this out. Also, I need these things to stop producing eggs and to die, maybe. Let me kill this first. God, this is actually really tough. Look how much uranium ammo it takes to actually blow one of these things up. Now looking at my stream of bots, it definitely has something to do with my old science setup. Like they're trying to put stuff over here. Because why? I mean, I could just get rid of these boxes, but I took away all the requests on these boxes. So I don't see why they're still trying to do this. Ugh, so annoying to decommission things. Decommissioning things in this game is just as hard as, like, setting up new things, I swear. Like, none of these have requests or anything, so I don't see why they're trying to put things in there. So I'm going to get rid of some stuff in my inventory and just delete all these boxes. Maybe that'll help. I can see it's trying to put flux into this buffer box, but this buffer box, I don't know. I think it's just trying to put it somewhere, and because that buffer box has flux, it's trying to put it in there. I have no idea what it's doing, honestly. Really need to be able to tell the bots not to take stuff out of the cargo landing pad, because like they keep trying to take it out and putting it somewhere, but I want a very controlled amount of stuff in each box, so I don't know how to control that properly. Let me try to figure that out. Alright, after much kerfuffling around, I finally fixed all the logistics issues on Nalvis, so now we can set up our actual science to do what we want it to do. I've been trying to burn a lot of this excess science from our old setup, but it doesn't look like that's happening, so we'll just set it up and just go from there. Alright, now everything is cleaned up and done on Nalvis. I've got all my filtered things for science and all the requests set up, so we can now close the loop on Aquilo. At the moment, I'm still trying to burn through my existing science, so all these inserters are flipped backwards, but once we've burned through our cache, we can actually test whether all our interstellar science is all keeping up or not. But for now, we're going to go back to Aquilo, close the loop on all the fusion power and all that stuff, and see if that all works. Alright, first test is fine. Nalvis is okay. So we've picked up our tungsten carbide and our tungsten plate from Nalvis. Now we're going to go over to the next planet, which is Fulgora. On Fulgora, we want to pick up our superconductor, our stone, our processor units, and our low density structures. Let's see if it can handle it. We might need to add rocket silos somewhere, depending. I don't know which rocket silo it's going to use to pick up these materials yet, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, no surprise, it managed to pick everything up from Fulgora. They seem to have figured out where to grab stuff. So while our bottom half of our build is frozen, my concept of having our power system separate is really good because the top part isn't frozen, so we don't have to worry about it at all. It's going to be very easy to just defrost this bottom part. We just have to wait. We just have to basically load these up with rocket fuel and they will defrost this, and that should get the system going again. Obviously it ran out of fuel, that's why it's frozen, but we need to figure out why it ran out of fuel. Ah, I see. It was these deleters. Trying to simultaneously delete the ice and the fuel at the same time caused it to jam at one point or another. Now, I don't know if a simple fix is just by using speed modules in there that it will fix that problem. Let me test that. Like, I can always just add 2 more recyclers, but for example, can I not just add speed modules so whatever they're deleting, they do it so quick that they never jam up? I don't know if that's a thing, or maybe it's just easier to add 2 more recyclers. Literally, you can just do it over on this side. But now this thing's producing ammonia, this thing should be producing fuel, and the fuel has nowhere to go at the moment, so we need to defrost the rest now. Alright, the first thing I want to set up is this thing for getting the fusion power cells, because we need those to be going properly. I'll probably use my bots to supply it up there. I don't want to deal with such a long belt, so let me get that set up first. We forgot to set up holmium, but I've remedied that now. So holmium is coming in, it's being routed around to produce this now, so we should be able to produce more than enough fusion power cells to power our system. So we close the loop on that. I'm using bots to deal with this, so we'll set up a few more roboports to cover this whole area in logistics, and that should be okay to deal with. Hopefully the bots can handle it despite the lack of bot power on this planet. I've put in roboports over here so it can grab the blue science from here and deliver it whenever it needs to. Let's do a shipment of cryo-science and see how it handles it. I don't really want to ship the cryo-science right now because there's so much on Nalvis, but that's fine. We'll get Aquilo to request it. Let's see how it handles 2000. I just want to know if I need more bots or more charging stations. Because we can see they put in immediately 1000, almost 1000, and then they ran out of power. And then it slows down drastically. I mean, the simple solution is more bots, so maybe we'll just grab more bots. Oh, I can't even do that anymore because my old logistics network is not linked. But yeah, we can probably just do more bots. I don't know if I have any spare bots left over here. I don't think so. I've only ever had like 40 bots running this entire network, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, it's loaded its 2000 science, so we can let it go now. It should go to Gleba and it should try to grab carbon fiber, I believe, and then go back to Nalvis and dump all its stuff. Yep, Gleba is perfectly fine. It can grab 500 carbon fiber from there, and then it should go back to Nalvis and dump everything, and we'll just confirm all that's working. Awesome, looks like it's dropped off its cryo-science, so we're pretty much done with everything. Now I'm pretty sure the volumes that I've done everything is not correct, so now it's time to test each of our planets to see what exactly is it that we need to get it to reach that 1000 SPM target that we're trying to reach, right? Because we're not 100% convinced at the moment, because we've been using our buffered science, that the science coming from all the other planets can actually keep up with our system. So we're going to test them one at a time, because obviously we don't have access to Promethean science, so we can't test all of them at once, but we can test them individually by picking a research that uses some stuff, right? So let's find a research. What's the best one we can use? I guess we can do cryo-science. Well, railgun shooting speed is probably the best one to test, right? So we can do, we can test our EM science and our cryo-science first. I know we still got to drain this buffer of science, but just for testing purposes, I'm going to use the science that we're bringing in rather than the buffer, so we can properly test it and prove to ourselves that we are indeed picking up science at the right volumes. We can see in the time that it's taken for it to travel, it's fully buffered our Aquilo chest with blue science already. So I don't think we're limited at the moment by the crafting speed. We're just limited by the transport speed. So we need to adjust for how many like rockets of cryo-science we take every time we come here by observing how long it actually takes to do all this, like the return trip. And of course we can tune the system however we like. For example, we can make a better ship that can make the trip much faster, or we can make a second ship that directly goes to Aquilo and back and has no detours. I can see we haven't even made it to Aquilo yet, and we've already burnt through all our science, so maybe we need to at least double it maybe? So let's try that. But bear in mind, we are going way above our target of 1000 science per minute, so yeah. We're heading like nearly 3000 science per minute at the moment. Let's see how long it takes them to grab 4000 science and load it. It looks pretty slow at the moment. Let me try bringing more worker robots and seeing if that helps. Alright, I've shoved another 200 logistics robots into the system and added 3 more roboports. Let's see what it looks like when it tries to load the rocket now. Alright, it's instant now, and then they can go chill during the rocket animation, so we didn't need to do too many tweaks. I don't think we need to do multiple rockets. This is like fast enough, right? Come here, it can grab 4000 science, or even more if we wanted it to. We can do like 6000 science if we want to. But our ship's looking a little bit full at the moment. And let's see that again as the new ship comes. Our robots come out, and then they go boom, 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 1000 science loaded, and a rocket goes up. So it's reasonably quick now. I can grab 4000 science and bring it back to Nalvis. Now I'm going to follow it. I think Aquilo Science is fine, so I'm going to follow this thing back to my planet now and go from Nalvis over to Fulgora, because we're having some issues on Fulgora. Namely, the scrap recycling area in our EM Science build is jammed and we're not picking up any new EM Science, so I need to figure out a better way to do this, and my lovely viewers and commenters have suggested a few different things I'd like to try, so let's go over here and do some experimenting. Now, if I've correctly understood my viewer, I believe what he's asking... Oh, I need all my stuff. Where did I drop all my stuff on Fulgora? I don't remember. There's some stuff here. Is this where my bots are? Hope so. Yeah, so if I've correctly understood what they've said, let me just dismantle my old setup for now. We'll just build it here to start with so it doesn't take up too much space. But essentially, we want to grab something. We want to put it into a recycler. Then normally we just daisy chain back and forth, but that could get jammed if things have multi-step recycling involved, right? So what we actually want to do is daisy chain it through more than just one recycler. Like if we just daisy chain it through like a few like this, then definitely it will have deleted by the end of the cycle, right? Is that what I'm understanding? I don't know, we'll find out. So if we now give these things crazy speed modules, although this one thing can't seem to pick up enough stuff to put into this thing. That's the problem at the moment. I do need like a really fast inserter. Let me try to make a legendary bulk inserter and see if that'll do it. I can't use stack inserters because it's just too much random crap on this belt. It'll get confused. After 12 episodes, I'm finally using legendary inserters. Amazing. With 3, it seems to have cleared the full belt. I don't know if it'll ever jam like this, but we'll see. It looks like it's working a lot better. So now we're getting continuous EM science production again, which is fantastic. So we'll sit here and watch it for a bit to see if we've got the right throughput of EM science to keep up with our research. We've just picked up all the science on the planet and sent it off. It's 2,000 at the moment. Let's see by the time it gets to Nalvis and back how many science packs we can actually ship. I've also put some more logistics drones in here because it's getting a bit slow. I mean, these logistics drones are super confused. I'm just going to give them a box to put this crap in so they're not all stuck. Alright, it's just arrived at Nalvis. It's dropped off its 2,000 pink science, so we'll see if that can keep up now. It's going to do nothing and immediately head back, right? 30 seconds passed and no cargo, then go. Do we even need to wait for the 30 seconds pass? We just check that it's dropped off its thing and then it can just go, right? It doesn't need to wait any longer. We'll see by the time it heads back to Fulgora how much science is actually here. I think 2,000 is a good number. It seems to be producing about that much. Alright, it's stopped outside Fulgora now, so it's going to pick up more science. I think it definitely has enough to pick it up. If we have a look at the box, that was its 2,000, immediately loaded and gone. And it should definitely bank another 2,000 by the time it comes back. So I think Fulgora is pretty much sorted. If we look at Nalvis in terms of how much that 2,000 has drained, it's pretty much drained most of it. But remember, we are going at like double or triple the target amount that we're trying to achieve. We're doing 3,000 science per minute. And remember, our goal was to get 1,000 science per minute. So I think we can tick off pink science as sorted out at this rate. We just need to pick up a batch of 2,000 and then it heads back. There you go. And then by the time it heads back, we should have just run out of pink science over here and we should be sweet. There'll be like a little bit of a dip, but again, because 3,000 science per minute, not 1,000. So yeah, I'm happy with that. All right, so we're just still testing the cryo-science just to see if we're roughly in the ballpark of shipping 4,000 is fine or not. So Aquilo is over here doing its thing. We do need to probably set a condition. I'm just thinking we want to drop all the science packs no matter what because it's such a long commute and Aquilo has other things to do. So maybe on Nalvis we will set this a little bit higher than 4,000 so we can bank the science. We could always add more cargo bays if we run out of room, right? So it's going at the moment. It's not using the bank of stuff so I can test whether the things that are coming from Aquilo actually is enough. So it's at... just left Gleba, just arrived with 4,000 new science, so we'll see if it does its thing. I'm researching things that require cryo-science at the moment, so it's just, yeah, doing its thing. Now I'm back on Gleba and I need to fix Gleba up because at the moment our system isn't actually working, and the reason it's not working is because there's too much spoilage and eggs on the belt for this one incinerator to handle, so I'm going to add more and fix that up. Now, it's just missing a few spoilage handling belts and a couple of incinerators to keep up with all the spoilage it needs to delete. But now we're producing our green agri-science again, so we should be good on that front. We can get our thing to request it, but not yet. I'm still testing this speed of our cryo-science, and it seems to be keeping up at 1,000 at least. There are dips, and I think the dips actually have to do with the pink science more than the cryo-science. So I think the next thing that we just need to test is agri-science. Alright, here's our space platform to come pick up 2,000 science. Now we need to check whether once it picks up this 2,000 science, whether by the time it comes back, it will have another 2,000 science ready to go. Hopefully it will. Feel like we need more logistics bots as well here. Yeah, actually I don't even need to confirm that because we're already over 2,000 science and it only just reached Nalvis. Well, it hasn't even reached Nalvis, only halfway to Nalvis and we're already back to 2,000 science. So I think agri-science is perfectly fine. We can test that once it gets to Nalvis and pick up an agri research. We'll let it run for a couple of cycles and just see how that goes. We'll switch up our research to railgun damage and just monitor the system. Isn't it beautiful? All our sciences are in now. Definitely way over 2,000 science, right? When it closes the loop. So we should definitely be fine. And research should be continuous. If we look back on Nalvis, yeah, we still got a bunch of science left. There might be a tiny little gap, but that's perfectly fine because once again, we're not targeting 2k science per second. We're only targeting 1k. So yeah, but we can very easily up these amounts to 3k as well if we wanted to, but it's fine. It's kind of like at this point in the game, like how long's a piece of string? Like how fast do you want to do this research and where do you want to get up to? Because it's all infinite research that's not doing anything anyway. So with that, I'm pretty satisfied with our build. Obviously, we don't have Prometheum science, and I think that's a little bit out of scope for what we're doing. Remember, the point of this original series was to prove, can we get a Megabase's output worth of science in a very compact form factor using legendary buildings? And all of the legendary stuff that we've done so far has shown, yes, you absolutely can. And we haven't even pushed the system to the limit yet. So we can definitely do a Megabase's output worth just using legendary buildings. Now, it's been quite a very interesting journey. I've learned a lot about Factorio playing this. Just to quickly recap, we started off our journey on Fulgora, where we built our very first quality farm. So here we were farming quality modules, and it's actually still going, creating quality modules. We don't need them anymore because we're not building legendary buildings and items anymore. With our legendary setup, and we next moved over to Volcanus, where we set up our two main modules, which is our speed modules and our productivity modules. And you can see they're still going strong and making more, and we don't really need them anymore because we're not building anything anymore. But yeah, we needed all that framework set up. And also Fulgora, these little quality farms that we set up gave us all the legendary material that we needed along the way to build every other building that we need. And it wasn't too difficult to get beacons set up, chem plants, assemblers, and all the rest of it. And once we had all that, we started building our legendary factory. The concept of our legendary factory was that we just have one building surrounded by beacons like this, instead of having an array of factories that you normally would see in a Megabase. And the output of one of these things is tremendous, so we don't need more than one building. And we set up our factory on Nalvis to produce all of our basic sciences, like our red, green, military, blue, our purple and yellow sciences. And then we moved on to all the other planets. We started off on Volcanus to produce a tiny factory to produce orange science or metallurgic science. And this is what it looks like. All the buildings involved, as well as being able to produce its own rocket parts and export materials for whatever. So yeah, definitely a very compact factory, no Megabase required. We then moved on to Fulgora, where we set up this tiny little thing to turn scrap into EM science. And we proved earlier that we definitely can keep up with the volumes at 1000 SPM, no problem, with plenty of room for future expandability. Then we got a little bit lazy with the rest of it, but Gleba we kind of partially set up over here. As you can see, these 6 buildings right here, they pretty much produce all the agri-science that you could possibly want. Of course, this thing's not producing its own rocket parts. We are tacking off the old system, so there's still plenty of improvements to be made. And finally, we went to Aquilo to reset up our legendary factory to produce cryo-science. So that's all done, and we've proved that all of it can keep up with our 1000 SPM, and it can all be done in this tiny form factor. So that's fantastic. All these factories should be able to be reasonably easily expanded upon, but you know, obviously with higher output there's going to be a lot more challenges involved. Now, would we say this series is complete? Well, I'm going to call this a soft ending. A soft ending in that we've achieved our original goal to prove that legendary buildings are amazing and they can produce crazy amounts of stuff, and pretty much explore the journey of how to get to a legendary factory. To really end the game, I guess you would probably build a Prometheum science factory, and then you can probably expand on and push the limits of this system to see if you can get up to maybe like 10,000 SPM or, you know, 20, 30,000 SPM, and see what ultimately is the limits of this system. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to do that one day, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'll be honest, between our last series where we finished off Space Age and this series where we built the legendary factory, we've put in hundreds and hundreds of hours into Factorio, and I just need to take a little bit of a breather away from it. And my builds, I feel like, are suffering a little bit because I'm getting a little bit burnt out on Factorio and I'm getting really lazy with my builds. So I don't want to keep pushing forward. I feel like this is a good soft ending to the series, and if we do, you know, feel like revisiting it one day, we can add some bonus episodes to the end of this series where we explore Prometheum science and all that stuff and build some legendary spaceships and all sorts of fun stuff as I think of it. But I think this is a fitting conclusion for now. So if you've enjoyed the series, don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I will see you guys in the next series.